This is the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge, round 4, week 9, and let me tell you, the struggle is real, my friends. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. Sometimes those come in the shape of comics. My comics do feature zombies. They also feature kids because it is a kids versus zombie adventure story. It's called Young and the Dead. Did I mention that? If I didn't, that's what it's called. But anyway, so it's a kids versus zombie adventure story. It's kind of in the vein of like Goonies. It's like Goonies meets Night of the Living Dead. But if you like Goonies, Monster Squad, E.T., Stand By Me, you know, all those old kid-centric 80s action adventure films where kids were up against insurmountable odds. This time it's zombies. You'd probably dig that. So these, I got like 4 issues available right now. Right now I am working on the 5th issue. And as part of this challenge, the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge. So what is that? What is the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge? Well, simply put, and I'm trying to do this pretty quick each time because I know a lot of you guys have heard this before if you're watching, but bear with me because we have some new people who might want to know what it's all about, who might be jumping into this. So 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge was started by my friend Kevin Cross, who at the time was finding it difficult to just find time to work on his own comic book project. And what he realized was, you know, if I just work on it a little bit every day, that time will add up, and then if I do it long enough, then I'm going to have a lot done. So that was kind of the crux of the whole thing. So basically he set up these rules, and they're pretty simple. So what you have to do is you have to spend at least 30 minutes a day, every day, on your comic book. You do that for 100 days straight. And then the third rule is that you hold yourself accountable by posting in a public forum about it, letting people know, putting that out there, whether it's in an online community or whatever the case is. But it could be on, you know, a Facebook post. It could be a YouTube video like I'm doing. It could be Instagram. It could be in a Discord, whatever the case is, but you have to let that be known publicly, and you do that as well every single day. I've done this challenge, just like I said, this is round 4, this is my 4th time around. So what I decided to do this time, I am just doing weekly updates because I know I've kind of proven myself, or I thought I proved myself that I could do that. More about that in just a minute. But anyway, so the other thing that I'm doing differently, in addition to doing these weekly updates instead of daily updates, and if you're just starting this, you got to do those daily updates. I would say, you know, if you've done this challenge successfully twice, then maybe you could do weekly updates, but you got to do those daily updates. So the other thing that I'm doing differently is instead of 30 minutes a day, and it's, you know, it's at least 30 minutes a day is the challenge. Don't do any less than that, but at least 30 minutes a day. But I decided I'm going to do an hour a day. Now that is a commitment I made with myself. And, you know, these rules, they sound pretty easy when you think about it. I mean, a lot of people go into this, and believe me, a lot of people do not make it. They don't make it that 100 days without putting in those 30 minutes a day. And you would think it was simple. If you think about it, everyone has 30 minutes a day that they can put aside to do something. No matter how busy your schedule is, there's got to be 30 minutes for you that you can work on something. So that's the idea. Now, I just did for myself for an hour a day, and I have to admit, this week I did not get in that hour a day. Now, I did do 30 minutes a day, so technically I'm still in the spirit of the challenge, but you know, I made that commitment to myself that I was going to get an hour done a day, and I did not. So let's talk about that. So let me kind of frame this by letting you guys know what I've been up to for the past week. So I enrolled in a leadership training program, and this is something that is really going to help me. So far it's just been life-changing, and I've still got another week to go, but it's very intensive. So the last week the program started on Friday. You know, you wake up at 9, or not, you don't wake up at 9, you start at 9, and before that there's probably a lot of prep that you've got to do to get ready for this thing, and it pretty much goes until 9 at night. And there's really not too many breaks. You get about 20 minutes, you get a couple 20-minute breaks, and then you get what is an hour break, although that hour break is really, you really only have about 10 minutes to get like your food ready, and then you come back and you sit with the group. This is all virtual, by the way, but virtually you're sitting with the group and you're workshopping things. And that was for, you know, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And like I said, prior to that, this is pretty intensive, so I had been prepping all this stuff. Now you might be saying to yourself, 9 to 9, you know, I've worked that that many hours. That's, you know, I could still get stuff done and without a problem and everything. But when each day wraps up, and it's, you know, for me and my time zone, it's about 10 o'clock. And then you usually get about 3 to 4 hours of homework that you have to focus on. And it's also important that they recommend that you get at least 4 hours of sleep. And I think I managed to get just those 4 hours, no more, no less, maybe a little less. But yeah, it was pretty intensive, but I mean, it was, like I said, it was well worth it. And this thing is gonna just, I think it's gonna revolutionize my productivity and other areas of my life and everything. But I've got another week, and it's even more intensive because it's 4 days, and it starts Thursday. And full disclosure, typically, you know, I put these videos out on a Monday. So that previous weekend, I shoot the videos, I edit them, which is also a lot of time. But I'm not gonna have any of that weekend to do that. I am gonna be knee deep in, you know, this training and everything. So, like I said, full disclosure, that right now as I'm recording it, it is Wednesday, the prior Wednesday to when it's released. So I can't, you know, I'm kind of cheating it a little bit, but you have to, you know, one of the things you have to do is you have to figure out, how am I gonna make this work? I'm gonna still put in all the time. I haven't done that yet. But really, I'm only actually like 3 days into this week's challenge. I'm committed, and I have set aside time before before the training and everything starts to put in my hour. And it shouldn't be a problem. But up until now, you know, it's been, not only has it been a struggle to find that time, and there's a number of different reasons for that, but I'm finding that the work that I have been doing, it's just not up to par. I made the mistake, and I brought this up in the beginning of I think it was around probably the first video when I started doing this challenge, and I talked about how to set yourself up for success, you want to pick a particular time to do that work. For me, it's best to do it first thing. So before I really do anything, once I get out of bed, I do that challenge. And then after that, I work out or whatever. And I don't change that routine, because once you throw that off, the whole idea of the challenge is to build these habits. And once you've done something enough time, then it just becomes like natural. Oh, this is just something I do. But because of all the stuff that's going on that I was taking on, I decided, well, okay, I'm gonna push this till later at night. And then I got towards that, you know, it was later at night when I started working on this, and I was tired. I just wasn't into it in my work. Even though I put in that hour, I'm not really that happy with it. I'm probably gonna have to go back and do some of that. And I'll probably throw some of what I've been working on the screen, and maybe you can see that I kind of scrapped some of those panels. And I'm still just not working at my full potential, because I'm just not doing it right. But, you know, since the last update, I did complete, this page was about halfway done. I think I did complete that. So, and then I started on the new page, and I'll show some process videos of that, some sped up videos, so you can check that out. But like I said, it's Wednesday, and so I guess I've done a decent amount of work so far, and I've got a ways to go. And I think when I get back to that schedule where I'm not waiting, I'm not putting that off till later in the day, I work on it first thing, I think that's really gonna help and get me back on track. But like I said, this challenge is not as easy as it seems, and I'm starting to find that out now. The good thing is that this whole, you know, self-betterment, you know, self-improvement, this leadership course that I'm going through, this training that I'm doing, is going to help me be way more productive and everything. Because it's without getting too much into it, it's really retraining the way you think, the way you look at things, to not be a victim, to not let things happen to you, but make things happen for yourself. And I'm realizing, and just put aside all the things that come into your life that are kind of disrupting your life. And once you do that, I mean, you're just more focused, and you can just move forward. So I know, even though, you know, I'm sacrificing a little bit on my comic book project, and that really, honestly, that's all I've been working on this week. All the other work, you know, I put aside, and I'm okay with that. Usually I'd be like, oh man, I'm not getting anything done, you know, because I'm kind of a workaholic. But I'm doing this training, and now I don't have time to do all this stuff. But I know as soon as because I just, from the first weekend that I've done this, I mean, it's just been life-changing. I still got 4 intensive days to go, and then probably after that I'll continue in some capacity. So, I mean, this is gonna change everything, I think, for my productivity. So I just, knowing what's in store, I'm not worried about the time that I'm sort of losing right now. So all this leads me to commitment. And when you take on this challenge, you are committing to yourself that you are gonna put in those 30 minutes a day, that you are gonna let people know about it on, via social media. You're going to blog about it, whatever the case is. Let it be known to hold yourself accountable, and that you are going to do that for 100 days straight. That is the commitment that you're given. But like I said, I've seen a lot of people take this course, and I see a lot of people that just don't complete it. And what usually happens is if they get to a point like I did where, I had committed to an hour a day, and there were times where I was only able to put in that 30 minutes a day. And, I felt bad about it, but I just knew, I said to myself, I have to at least do the bare minimum. I have to get that 30 minutes in, even though I made that commitment to myself. And when I wasn't able to put in that hour, I didn't say to myself, it's done. I messed up. It's over. I gotta take my ball and go home. No, I mean, when that happens, if you're doing this challenge and you fall off, the thing you have to do is just get right back to doing it. Sure, you had a setback, all right, but you've got to get back and doing it, because it's like a diet. So if you're on a strict diet and everything, and then just one day you just lose it, and you're like, I'm gonna have this donut, and you have that donut, and then what happens is a lot of people are like, well, it's over. I've ruined the diet, so there's no point in continuing now. But is that really helping you? I mean, it's not. I mean, you had a setback, all right? But don't let that donut hold you back from getting back on the horse and continuing on with that diet, because that's a minor setback. But if you allow that to consume you, if you allow that to be an excuse to, like, well, it's over, I messed up, sure, and I've seen people do this as well, where they did fall off, and it might be a day, sometimes they even went a week, and then they jump back on the challenge. Now, technically, that's not what the challenge is about. You really have to do those 100 days straight. However, is it better to drop off and never come back and not do anything? No, because at that point, it's over with. You've quit, you've went on, so sure, you fall off, maybe you have to have some little recovery time, and you come back and you're back on track again. And I've seen people do that. So technically it's not what the challenge is about, but it's better than the alternative. And you can renegotiate with yourself. It's just like if you have committed to a friend that you are going to meet them at a certain place, a certain time, and something happens, whether it's an accident, maybe it's something that seems, like it's out of your control. Maybe you weren't paying attention, you're running behind, you'll never get there in an hour, the hour that you got to get there, but you've got to be there in a half hour. It's probably going to take you an hour if you were to leave now. What do? You don't just not show up or show up late. You call your friend and you let them know, and you said, it's basically, look, I messed up, I can't be there now. Can I renegotiate? Can we make this a little later? Or whatever the case is. Now, when you fail to honor that commitment that you made to yourself, it's also okay that you renegotiate. You say to yourself, look, I promised, I set the goal that I was gonna do an hour a day on my comic every day. I messed up, I couldn't get that done for whatever reason, and try not to make excuses, but just say, look, this is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna renegotiate. Either maybe I started off, I bit off more than I can chew with this hour a day. Maybe I have to take it back to 30 minutes. Or, maybe what you say is, okay, I didn't get that hour done. I'm putting in the 30 minutes, but I am committed to doing on the weekend, I am going to put in 3 hours or something like that. Renegotiate that with yourself. But you don't say, look, self, we messed up. I guess it's over. We're done with the challenge. Let's pack it up. There's no point in continuing, because how productive is that? So, think about your commitments. Think about, if it comes down to it, you renegotiate. It's, if you're an artist, if you've worked with clients, one of the things I've always said is that you just don't like turn in things late. If you are gonna have a problem meeting a deadline, as soon as possible, as soon as you know that you're not gonna be able to meet that deadline, you call and you let that client know. And if you don't do that, you're probably not gonna be working for that client again, because deadlines are very important. It doesn't matter if you're working with somebody else, or whatever the case is with those commitments. If you make the commitment to somebody else or to yourself, you gotta stick with that. And if it comes to just whatever happens where you can't commit to that, then you have to renegotiate and get back on track. So that's just some of the stuff that I've been going through this week. I am very excited moving forward because I know that next week when I do this update, it's just gonna be a whole new me. I just imagine I am just gonna be, you know, just light years ahead of, I mean, it's gonna be a very different me from what you're seeing right now. And I'm okay with that. I know this week has been a struggle, but I'm, you know, I know that it's not for nothing. What I'm going through right now is just going to benefit me in the future, because everything's connected. The training and the program that I'm going through right now is going to make it possible for me to be more productive on my comics and other areas of my life. So I'm super excited to do that, and I'm probably going to cut it short. I don't know if it's short. I'll have to see when I edit it. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff that I got to work on, and that does include putting that hour a day into my comics. So that's what I'm doing. But I want to know from you guys, have you done this challenge? Have you struggled with it? Did you bail? Did you renegotiate? What did you do? And it doesn't have to be this challenge. It could be anything. When, you know, when the chips are down, you've messed up, what do you do? How do you get back on track? Let me know in the comment section. I read all my comments. I try to get back to everyone. Even if it's a day or so later, I will get back to you. Let me know. Let's spark up some conversation in the comments section, and I will see you guys later. That is all. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media, and now you can support the work that I do on Patreon. Do you like making comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.